Rising Stars! So I am coming to you today with just a quick message about courage. And this is something that it's just kind of on my mind to share with you. And hopefully maybe you find it useful or find a piece of it useful. So I've been reading Mel Robbins' The 5-Second Rule. And as Elliot asked, is that about food? It is not about food. If you were in Nashville, which I know Mom and Valerie were in Nashville, Mel Robbins spoke. Scentsy had Mel Robbins come and do a talk, and she's absolutely amazing. She did such a great job that Scentsy actually invited her to come speak at Leadership as well this year in New York, which I unfortunately couldn't attend, so I had to buy the book. So, well, I probably would have bought it either way, because she's great. She has TED Talks, so if you YouTube her at all, you can find her talks about the 5-second rule. But to kind of sum it up, it's basically the fact that we can talk ourselves out of anything, and all it takes is, 5 seconds to get us to start, our brains to start talking us out of an action or something that we need to or want to do. And if we count down backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, an act, we will be acting on our just our dreams and desires, and not preventing ourselves, not talking ourselves out of what it is that we want to accomplish. So, and this is so relevant for Scentsy, whether it's handing out samples to strangers or asking someone to book a party or sharing the opportunity. We can talk ourselves out of those, we can even book a party and talk ourselves out of actually wanting to do the party, right? And so she really dives into it a lot in this book, but the chapter I'm on right now is about courage, and just how we wait for the right time a lot of times, or we wait for things to be perfect, and there is never going to be a right time. And so if you have this feeling or hunch to talk to somebody, share the opportunity, ask them to host, share the sample, to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and do it. On Sunday, I got this call from a friend, and she's actually really not even a close friend. And she was just like, hey, I was just thinking about you, and so I wanted to call you. And I was like, that is so nice, because how often do we think of people but not actually act on it? So just really kind of being intentional about telling someone that you appreciate them, or telling them that you're thinking of them, or, and then further with Scentsy, offering that opportunity for them to join your team. Another example is so I don't know if you guys know, I'm in this accelerated leadership program right now. I think I've talked about it a little bit. It's a pilot program. It's the first time Scentsy's done this, and they're going to do it again, which is exciting. But we are required to have 8 parties a month and 2 new recruits a month. And to help us with those requirements, home office does some things to kind of help us. Like, there's an opportunity call. It's specifically for people who are in the accelerated leadership program once a month. And that's kind of how I modeled my opportunity call, that I invited you guys to all invite your team to get on, and then shared that with you. I modeled that after the one that they do for us. So the idea is that they're teaching us, and then we can teach you guys. So anyways, there was a call last night, and I don't have anybody who's currently thinking about joining this month. And so I thought, well, I better find some people to share this opportunity call with, because it's great for them to hear from home office and all that kind of stuff. So I started messaging some people last night, and of course it was super last minute. But it was kind of a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like, I'm just going to ask this person if they've ever considered joining Scentsy, because here's this opportunity call, and I would love to have you on our team, right? And it kind of put me in this position where I was pushed a little bit because of time constraints, and really, just going for it, just asking people. Well, the one of the girls who I asked, actually, I don't even know how she came to my mind. She had said that she would host a party, and she kind of hasn't. She's kind of put off hosting her parties, and so I don't know why it came to mind that I should ask her, so I did. And then she responded with, well, thank you for asking, but I just joined this other direct sales company. So then, to me, I was like, Ariel, like, you could have asked her when you first met her. You should have shared the opportunity right away, right? Which obviously I prevented myself from sharing that opportunity. But if I would have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, have you ever considered joining Scentsy? Here's the information. She may have been interested because clearly she was looking for an opportunity. And so, anyways, so I was like, oh, that's and then she said, and plus I suck at selling stuff. And so I said, well, laugh out loud. No, you don't. I said, if you're passionate about it, you're going to do great. And I was simply talking about the company that she just joined, because I'm not about stealing people from other companies, right? I'm not about that at all. I don't want to do that. So I was just trying to encourage her in her new venture and telling her, you know, from one direct sales company person to another, like, if you love it, you're going to do great. So then, and like all night kind of kicking myself, like, there you go. There's another example, and you should share that with your team about why you should ask everybody, because you just don't know. And we tend to make up these reasons for ourselves in our mind of why we shouldn't share the opportunity, right? They prevent us from doing that because we're hesitating. We're not acting on that first instinct. So anyways, this morning she messages me again, and then it turns out she thought kind of, I guess, that I was talking about Scentsy when I said that, and she was like, well, I do love Scentsy, and da-da-da-da-da, and, you know, like, maybe I'll think about it in the future once I get it down with my other company. And I mean, so it kind of turned into like a potential new recruit. And then she started asking me some other questions, like about our comp plan and how all that works. And so she's maybe even kind of interested, which is like crazy. I'm kind of excited. Still don't want to steal her from the other company. Still want her to do it in her time or whatever, but the seed's planted and it's on the table. And so Mel talks in here about you might think you're protecting yourself from judgment, rejection, or upsetting someone, but when you make excuses and talk yourself into waiting, you're limiting your ability to make your dreams come true. And then she goes on to say, what were some of my other favorite things in here? Life is not a one and done sort of deal. Oh, here's this other thing she talks about in here too. I really recommend this book, and when I'm done reading it, I'll be happy to pass it on. But if you don't want to wait for me to finish, because I'm sort of a slow reader, well, I'm not a slow reader. I'm a fast reader, but I don't make the time very often to read. So anyway, if you don't want to wait for me to finish the book, you should check it out yourself, because it's really good. But she's talking about this guy, and, you know, he's like recently divorced, and he's at the bar, and he sees this girl who he wants to talk to, and it kind of goes through this whole story about, you know, is he going to ask her, or, you know, start talking to her? Is he going to strike up this conversation with her? And then she says, you know, what, you know, we get so obsessed with the result of that. Does he get the girl? When, in fact, that doesn't matter. The point is, what's important is that he followed his heart, made the decision to move, made this decision to strike up the conversation to see. Because after that, you know, whether or not, you know, he gets her, it's irrelevant, right, to his personal growth. And that's the same for us. Whether or not this said girl joins my Scentsy team, or whether or not the people who you're talking to join your Scentsy team, that's irrelevant. The point is that you acted on that desire to share the opportunity with them, or desire to book a party with them, and you yourself are growing personally, and And that's what's amazing. That's what's really cool about it, right? And so listen to this. She says, life is not a one and done sort of deal. You've got to work for what you want. Do you know the game Angry Birds? Rovio, the brand that created the game, launched 51 unsuccessful games before they developed Angry Birds. How about the Avengers star Mark Ruffalo? Do you know that how many auditions he did before he landed his first role? Almost 600. Even Babe Ruth struck out 1,330 times. And my favorite vacuum cleaner is a Dyson, and there's no wonder why it doesn't suck at sucking up the dirt. James Dyson created 5,127 prototypes. So it's just, that if you ask one person to join your Scentsy team, they might not do it. If you ask 10, you still might not be there, right? It's just the continual acting and which you guys are all great at that. So this probably isn't even I don't know if you're even gonna find that this relevant. Because you all do that, right? And you're all continuing to ask people. Valerie shared a great example when we did our group party the other night. She said, I have asked 10 people to host a party or be my hostess for this party. All of them have said no, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep asking. And then she found the hostess. So I know you guys all know this. My hope, I guess, is just that it's an encouragement to you in those times when you are feeling unsure. I hope that it's an encouragement to you to, if you're having an impulse to share the opportunity with someone or make samples and go hand out samples like crazy, or maybe you can just even take it to your teams and share that with them because they might not, they might need to hear that today. So anyways, I will talk to y'all later, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.